There once was a girl named Claire. Claire lived a pretty bad life due to her mother's poor decisions. Her mother became pregnant with Claire when she was 17 years old. This made Claire's life difficult in many ways. For one thing, she grew up without a dad, and she only had her mother as a parental figure in her life. When her mother got pregnant, her father took no responsibility. He didn't support her in any way. She was struggling financially because the father didn't offer any support. Claire grew up in a tough environment. She struggled in school and repeated second grade. To make matters worse, her mother had another child a year later, a boy. When Claire was 16 years old, she fell into the same situation as her mother. Claire didn't even know she was pregnant until she was a couple months along. She didn't receive proper prenatal care soon enough. When she found out, all she could do was hope the child wasn't born with problems because of the lack of prenatal care. Her and her mother were already very poor. They didn't know how they were going to support another child. Claire was still a child herself. The father of the child was her boyfriend, and he said he would stick around. But halfway through the pregnancy, he decided to leave her. He didn't offer any support, just like Claire's father. She struggled because she no longer had a loving relationship. She felt no love or acceptance, and she was unsure of her identity. Going to school became harder and harder, and eventually she had to drop out. She decided to take her classes at home, online, because she still wanted to graduate. She couldn't focus on her classes because all she could think about was the baby. The future of the baby was a huge concern for her. When the baby finally arrived, Claire was relieved. The baby was born premature and it was a little underweight but ended up being healthy after a little bit of time in the hospital. The baby was a little girl that she named Sarah. Claire was determined to make the future better for Sarah, but it was impossible for Sarah to grow up normally without a father. Sarah struggled in the same ways that Claire did. She grew up in a struggling family. The child was being raised by Claire and her mom. Her mom had to go to work from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and Claire was still trying to find a job. They put Sarah in daycare during the day because they didn't have anyone else to take care of her. She basically grew up without parents. Claire finally got some help from a local agency that helps struggling teen moms. They helped to get her life back on track and get her back in school. They were all focused on making sure Claire's little girl wouldn't end up in the same situation as Claire and her mother. Claire ended up finding a good boyfriend for her when she was 22, and her child was 6. They ended up getting married. He worked and supported her and her child like it was his own child. Sarah lived a much better life because she had 2 loving parents. She grew up in a supportive home and didn't continue the cycle of teen pregnancy.